Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's Tim Patterson, Trade Show Guy. Welcome to Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee for July 17th, 2017. I am, of course, Tim Patterson, Trade Show Guy, author of the Trade Show Success Book, 14 Proven Steps to Take Your Trade Show Marketing to the Next Level. I also blog a lot at TradeshowGuyBlog.com, although this last week has been kind of hit and miss because I've been camping for a few days. And, of course, I founded the company called Trade Show Guy Exhibits. We work with small to medium-sized businesses to shape up their trade show marketing with new exhibits or revised or upgrades or something like that. So I thought today it might be fun to look, by the way, coffee, Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. This is the KMUZ mug. It's got the 88.5 and the 100.7. I'm a volunteer. It's a community station, and I do a reggae program every Monday night. So that'll be happening later tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you'd like to join us, you can just go to kmuz.org. And, yeah, I'll give them a free plug. It's a fun little station. It's a community station. So every 2 hours, basically, there's someone else in there volunteering. We got 60 or 70 volunteers doing shows. And I happen to do a reggae show every Monday night, which is my kind of my passion. All right, there you go. So I thought it might be fun today on the podcast to try and figure out what it takes to get off a dead center creatively with your creativity, with producing things. How do you get off of dead center? How do you get rid of writer's block if you're a writer or you're a creator and you just can't come up with ideas? So where do you get new ideas for stuff? Whether you call it writer's block, creative block, let's figure out how to brainstorm some new ways to look at problems and so on and so forth. So we all get stuck now and then. Believe me, it happens. I write a lot, but there are times I go, what am I going to do? I scratch my head. I can't come up with anything. There are times when the ideas just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, and you can get good ideas and you can flesh them out and get them written down. So I thought I'd share some thoughts on how to get unstuck. Some of these are mine. Some of these come from online sites such as smartblogger.com and tutsplus.com. Found them there. I like this one. Talk to an imaginary friend. What would you tell an imaginary friend? This is something I haven't done since I was a kid, but you know. Or imagine you're talking to a real friend. There you go. One suggestion was made on smartblogger.com. Use a different writing tool. I will often narrate ideas, like if I'm driving and I need to come up with, capture an idea. I'm at the stoplight. I'll bring up my recording app and I'll say, "Hey," and I narrate the idea into the phone. Used to be a micro cassette, but I stopped using a micro cassette a few years ago because basically that is all on the phone. How about try narrating your ideas into a voice recognition tool? What was the one that was big and popular the last few years? Dragon, but gosh, you can do that with pretty much any iPhone or any smartphone these days. Just narrate and it converts it to text. So that's one way to do it. Then you go back and edit it, and then it gives you a chance to reassess the idea and make it better. One thing I like to do is just take a break. Go out and take a walk. Very important. Do 2 minutes of exercise. If you can't go take a walk, just get up, jump up and down, twirl your arms around, stretch to reach the floor, stretch to reach the ceiling, whatever gets your blood moving. It always helps to me to just kind of get things. Don't write for your readers. Write something for yourself. Be an idea. Instead of trying to write something specifically for a reader, write something just for fun for yourself that may be a little different angle. Find a list of possible blog posts or brainstorm ideas and pick one and write something that fits your blog topic. In other words, if you go online and look for blog ideas, there are a lot of people that have written blog posts on 17 or 20 or 57 ideas on things you can write about, and they don't always, in fact, many times, hardly any of them relate to your specific topic. For instance, my specific topic is trade show marketing on my blog, but I adapt something to that so that it does fit the blog topic and kind of twist that around a bit. How about read something completely off topic from your blog elsewhere, and then read it with a view to adapt some aspect of it to your blog point of view. I like this one. Go to a bookstore and browse books. It's different than going to Amazon.com and browsing books. They're just trying to sell you the top 100 books. But if you go to a bookstore, you're going to find stuff that you just don't normally run into, and you can find some ideas there. Very good. Instead of writing with your computer, go outside and write with pen and paper. Hey, some of the best novels and best writing in the world was done on pen and paper, pencil and paper. Go through old photos that you've taken and see if any of them can inspire you to write something, especially if they relate to your blog topic. Let's see. See what people are talking about on LinkedIn or Twitter. Do a search for your, like hashtag, for me it'd be trade show or trade show marketing. Do a search, just see what people are talking about. And if you are in that industry and you're connected with a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of stuff that they share, and that might inspire you. So look to those areas. Also, I like this one. Don't worry about starting at the beginning, because this was the thing that really got me years ago when I was trying to write stories and fiction and whatever. I always wanted to start at the beginning, but you don't have to start at the beginning. You can start at the middle. Start at the end. You know what the ending is? Start there, and then you can work your way back to the beginning or the middle and figure it all out later. And especially on a blog post, which is what I'm really essentially talking about. But whatever creative endeavor, don't worry about where you start. Just start. You can also get off dead center by brainstorming, either by working with a handful of people or on your own. Let's say you're trying to come up with some ideas for marketing your product or service. How do you brainstorm ways to advertise or market to reach new potential buyers in new markets? Get a group of people together, generate ideas. The approach is not to criticize anything, but write everything down, preferably on a whiteboard where everyone can see it. That's pretty common for brainstorming sessions. After a set amount of time, and make it short, 15, 20, 25 minutes. Go back over the ideas, pick the best, and expand on them to see if they can be improved or revised in any way. To me, this the best way to do this. And yes, I think having a timer is very, very important. Even 10 minutes. Just people throw stuff out. Don't worry about judging it. Just throw it out. And the more trust you have among the participants, the better you have, a better chance you have of actually getting good ideas down there. So a few other ideas I ran across on tutsplus.com. Mind mapping, visual tool, mind mapping software. Just Google it. There's a lot of it out there. I use a couple of programs myself. Write down your goal and then think of related issues layer by layer. You can add content to the map to see how they visually relate to each other. Especially good if you're a visual person like me. Even without mind mapping software, you can always do it on a pad with pencil and paper. Reverse brainstorming. I like this. Instead of trying to solve problems, try to create problems. Start with a problem and say, gosh, how could we create this problem? Gap filling. Write down your current state, where you are. Write a statement of where you'd like to be. What would it take to get there? What are the steps? Break the steps down into very, very specific steps. What might be the costs in time and money and energy that are associated with each step? Find the motivations and driving forces behind the problems you're trying to solve. For instance, what's the driving force behind the success of your competition or the failure of a product of yours or theirs? What are the market forces at work? What are other forces at work? Do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is interesting, especially the more you dig. SWOT, S-W-O-T, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are they internally, externally, that relate to your business, your goals, and your products? Look at a problem and ask the 5 or more whys. Why is that a problem? Why is this happening? Well, why does that happen? Keep digging down and figure out what is really going on. Use the old journalism approach. Write down the problem, and then ask the 5 questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then finally, break a big problem into smaller chunks. Try and solve a smaller problem instead of the larger issue. So getting unstuck is certainly an important situation that happens many times in our lives, in our work, in our personal lives. How do you get out of rut? Obviously, you can search online for another 1,000 websites or so that give you some better ideas, but I just want to share a few that I came across and some that have worked for me along the way. So, trade show tip of the week. Social proof generates trust, or having a crowd draws a crowd. So how do you draw a crowd at a trade show? Lots of different things you might try. Use social media. Give away a lot of stuff, like promotional items. Have great activities in your booth. Have a book signing with an industry favorite in your booth. Hire a professional presenter, a magician, entertainer, presenter that knows how to work a crowd and show your audience the benefits of your product or service. Have a product or service that in of itself is fun and imaginative or tasty or attractive in some way so that that product or service by itself draws a crowd. Have an awesome exhibit that in and of itself draws a crowd. Do something funny. Have your staff prepared with some humorous openings for visitors. Humor always breaks the ice very quickly. Generally, it does take some creativity along with time and energy and perhaps money to draw a crowd and some planning. But once you find something that works, keep working that idea and tweaking it. Just about done here. One good thing on this morning's podcast is the new book, which is in the other room, unfortunately, from Roger Steffens, called So Much Things to Say. It's the oral history of Bob Marley. I told you at the outset I'm a reggae fan. I just got this book over the last week or so. It was a Christmas present that finally arrived because it was just released the middle of last week. Roger Steffens is a guy I've known for years in L.A. He's kind of like the Bob Marley biographer. Fascinating book. I'm only a chapter into it, but I'll put a link up and an image of it on the website, TradeshowGuyBlog.com. So have yourself a great week.